For millions of Americans, a financial cliff is literally just weeks away, and it threatens to make their health insurance completely unaffordable, practically overnight. This isn't some problem for down the road, it's happening right now, and the deadline for a solution is coming up fast. Okay, let's get right into it. So, to really get what's at stake here, let's talk about a real person. This is Wendy Evans. She works for a small business that doesn't offer health insurance, so she has to rely on the Affordable Care Act marketplace. Her plan, which is right now about $200 a month, could suddenly jump to $1,000. As she put it, there's just no way, because, like you see on the screen, that's about a third of my income. That's an impossible choice for anyone to have to make.
And look, Wendy's story is heartbreaking, but it's not a one-off. This slide shows just how insane the change can be for a family. An insurance broker shared this example. A family of 6 is currently paying a totally manageable $614 a month with some government help. Without that help, they could suddenly be looking at a bill for $3,400. That's an increase of almost $2,800 every single month.
Right, so this is the heart of the issue. Premiums are skyrocketing. And like I said, these are not just a few isolated stories. We just heard from Wendy. Then there's Jessica Elston, a single mom with 2 kids up in Washington. When she went to renew her plan, her premium jumped from $93 a month to over $600 for the exact same coverage. That's just wild. And for millions across the country, this is the new reality they're facing.
So you're probably asking, how did we get here? Why is this happening now? Well, it really all boils down to some temporary government help, these things called enhanced subsidies that were put in place back during the pandemic. And that help, that safety net, is about to just disappear. Okay, this timeline really lays it all out. So if you look back to 2021, the American Rescue Plan gave these subsidies a big boost. And crucially, it got rid of an income cap. That was a game changer because it let a lot of middle-income families who used to earn just a little too much to get help finally afford a plan. Then those subsidies got extended once by the Inflation Reduction Act. But here we are, today, right at the final deadline. The bottom line is, if Congress doesn't do something, these subsidies just vanish at the end of 2025. And in 2026, prices go through the roof.
So the big question is, who is actually being affected by all this? Who's caught in the middle of this policy change? The answer, well, it might not be who you think. It really challenges a lot of the common assumptions out there. I mean, the sheer scale of this is just staggering. The Nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office did the math, and they project that if these subsidies expire, we're talking about 4.2 million more Americans becoming uninsured over the next 10 years. That would basically wipe out so much of the progress we've seen in recent years. And this is a really crucial point. This isn't some niche program for a handful of people. Just look at this. Half of the folks using the marketplace are tied to small businesses, the so-called engine of our economy. Another 27% are farmers. These are people who are absolutely fundamental to the American workforce.
And the impact just keeps widening. Get this, a full 75% of users are in what we typically call red states. That's a huge number. It's also hitting those middle-income families who just started getting help. And one group that's going to get hit especially hard, adults over 55. Their premiums are already higher just because of their age, and they're still not old enough for Medicare. All of this threatens to unravel all the progress that brought our national uninsured rate down from 15% to a record low of just 8%.
Okay, so with the clock ticking, you'd think this would be a no-brainer, right? An easy fix. But the reason it's not so simple is that we've got a major political standoff, a really fundamental disagreement in Washington about the entire U.S. healthcare system.
And this really breaks down the core debate. On one side, you have Democrats who, for the most part, just want to extend the subsidies and keep things stable for people. On the other side, you have many Republicans who are saying, whoa, hold on, the whole system is broken, and we should use this moment to make bigger changes or even replace the Affordable Care Act altogether.
And you know what's really fascinating? Leaders on both sides of the aisle, from Senator Bernie Sanders to his Republican colleagues, they actually agree on one thing. The status quo isn't working. So the gridlock isn't about if the system has problems. Pretty much everyone agrees it does. It's about what to do about it. Do we patch it up, or do we tear it down and start over? So after all that, where does this leave us? What happens next? Let's break it down into 2 parts. First, what can you do, like right now, the practical stuff? And second, what are some of the bigger, long-term ideas for reform being thrown around? Okay, so if you're one of the millions of people facing a huge premium hike, experts say, don't just wait around. Be proactive. First up, Seriously, contact an insurance broker. They're the pros who can help you navigate all the options. You can also look into high deductible plans that have lower monthly payments. In some cases, you might be able to find ways to lower your modified adjusted gross income, which could help you qualify for aid. And finally, there are options like direct primary care, where you pay a membership for basic doctor visits. But just a heads up, this isn't a replacement for major medical insurance. It won't cover a big surgery or a hospital. Now, looking past this immediate crisis, some pretty transformative ideas are being floated out there. Mark Bertolini, who's the former CEO of Aetna, is proposing this concept called a qualified account. The basic idea is you take all the money for your healthcare, government help, what your employer kicks in, your own money, and you put it all into one single account. It would kind of be like a health savings account on steroids, giving you direct control over your healthcare dollars. And really, that brings us right back to the fundamental question at the heart of this entire debate. As that clock ticks down, the country is facing a choice. Do we focus on patching up the system we have, strengthening that safety net to make sure millions don't fall through the cracks? Or is this the moment to do something much bigger, to rethink and rebuild the entire system from the ground up? The answer will shape American healthcare for decades to come.